Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Hawk star Trae Young, among several key players who were eager for Lloyd Pierce to be fired. Some Atlanta Hawks players were surprised to learn of head coach Lloyd Pierce's dismissal on Monday. It is unlikely star point guard Trae Young was one of them. Chris Kirschner, Sam Amick, and David Aldrich had a lengthy piece in The Athletic detailing how a number of key players wanted to change on the bench. Sorry about that. Detailing how a number of key players wanted to change on the bench, including Young. The Athletic reported Young, as well as guys like John Collins and Cam Reddish, did not like the tough love approach Pierce utilized during his tenure as Hawks head coach. Support in Pierce waned over the time to the point players were already suggesting they would least like to play for him. The lack of trust in Pierce from numerous players started in his first season for the Athletics Anonymous NBA Player Poll in April 2019, when one Hawks player was asked which coach in the NBA would you not want to play for. He responded with, "Are we allowed to say the one we play for?" One source said it is unclear when exactly Pierce lost the confidence of the Hawks locker room, but noted the inability to relate to the young players ultimately led to his dismissal. There's no telling when he lost it, the source said via the Athletic. He didn't have support from many people. It came down to him not being able to manage egos. That's what did him in, especially these young guys, is tough. Hawks assistant Nate McMillan has agreed to become interim head coach. His ability to build relationships with Atlanta's young players could be a major determinant in the Hawks' playoff quest. Okay. Now, let's see. There was another one. Rick Carlisle implies Hawks shouldn't have fired Lloyd Pierce because he is a Democrat, not because of his coaching ability. The Atlanta Hawks announced the firing of head coach Lloyd Pierce on Monday, fresh off of a loss to the Miami Heat, the team's eighth loss over their previous 11 games played. Pierce leaves Atlanta after posting a record of 63 and 120. 63 wins and 120 losses in his 2+ seasons in charge of the Hawks. After the news of Pierce firing broke, Dallas Mavericks head coach Rick Carlisle spoke out against the move. Carlisle, who is the president of the NBA Coaches Association, didn't necessarily speak about his coaching ability as to why he would have kept his job. However, instead, Carlisle pointed out that Pierce is a Democrat and that his efforts in the community helped flip the state of Georgia from a traditionally red state to a blue state in the 2020 election. Georgia, in very large part because of Lloyd's work and commitment, went from being a traditional Republican state to a Democratic state, not only in the electoral college vote in the presidential election, but also in the runoff. Hold on. Yeah, they were basically, that's what Rick Carlisle was saying. Now, Greg Popovich also came to Lloyd Pierce's defense, saying he delivers a serious warning to Hawks after Lloyd Pierce firing. On Monday, the Atlanta Hawks officially announced that the franchise had fired head coach Lloyd Pierce, something current San Antonio Spurs head coach Greg Popovich thinks might very well come back to haunt the Eastern Conference franchise. With Atlanta giving the 44-year-old Pierce just 34 games in 2020 to 21, it will now be former Indiana Pacers head coach Nate McMillan who attempts to right the ship for the 14 and 20 Hawks. We all know it's a volatile environment and that sort of thing, but you don't want to miss on people like him, Popovich recently said via Tom Osborne of the San Antonio Express News. It's like missing on a really good player in the draft or evaluating somebody wrongly, he is the kind of guy you could build a culture around. The Hawks, as of this writing, sit in 11th place in the Eastern Conference standings, with Atlanta coming off a 109-99 loss to surging Miami Heat on Sunday evening. Perhaps more importantly, the Hawks' latest loss was the team's 11th defeat of the season after holding a lead in the fourth quarter, because Pierce and the Hawks were expected to do some pretty big things in 2020 to 21. It appears as though, hold on. It appears as though the leash was quite short in Atlanta, as the aforementioned McMillan would take over in an interim capacity with the All-Star break right around the corner. Originally hired by the Hawks back in 2018, Pierce will wrap up his Atlanta tenure with a 63-120 record to his credit, as the team missed out on the postseason in each of his 2 full seasons at the helm. So I just wanted to give you an overview of everybody in the Lloyd Pierce situation. And from what I was watching and everything, this here just shows you that black coaches just don't get a chance or a shot at all. These guys rather play for a white bread coach, because see, that's just what it is. A guy told me back in the day, when I was in Tallahassee with this crazy chick. But what he told me was very intricate. He never wanted a black coach at Florida State, especially Willie Taggart, because he says black coaches don't get respect. I would never want a black coach as my head coach, because they just don't get respect, and then the players don't respect them. And this is how it is in the workplace as well, with black managers, black presidents, or black CEOs. They're not respected as a white guy, because that's what's been embedded in our DNA, is to follow the pink guy. And the pink guy says jump, we say how high. The pink guy say roll your ass over there, you roll that mother, you're gonna roll like some tumbleweed. So that's what I'm saying. This here is a travesty to me. To me, Lloyd Pierce, I hope he gets another job, because see, what these players don't understand is that if you bought in, you would have probably been better. But the problem is that these players are so spoiled today. They're all spoiled. All these young kids are spoiled, and a lot of these kids, I hate to say it, they come from homes where they only have a mother in the home. Sometimes they just have a father in the home. So they don't have that balance of a mother or a father setting as a lot of these pink folks have. Now, it's a lot of pink folks that have single parent households, but they don't mention that. They don't want to mention that. They don't want to mention that there's a lot of white coaches that ain't doing well. What about Luke Walton out in Sacramento? Those guys have a good team. Potentially, they could be great, especially the pieces they have. But Luke Walton gets a pass. Who else is out there? We have let me look, because I'm gonna pull this up. Let's see. You have the Orlando Magic with their coach. This season, he started out bad, but they're not saying anything about him. What about Scott Brooks, excuse me, in Washington? They're not saying nothing about him. It seems like the black coaches who always get thrown to the wolves, or basically put in a predicament where they don't get the chance to succeed. Black coaches don't really get a good team. Monty Williams was gifted with a good team because, Monty has been paid his dues and everybody likes Monty. But there's a lot of black coaches like Monty that don't get that recognition. Ty Lue, how the hell does he get a coaching job with a Clippers team? A Clippers team. But you get the job. when Sam Cassell and there's other black coaches who are way qualified than you. So this is what I'm saying. Black coaches do not get the luxury. They always get a bad team or a sorry team, and then it's always, oh, their tough love approach. Their tough love. No, Trae is soft. Him, John Collins, and Cam Reddish are soft. They're mentally weak. They're a bunch of babies. And they want to be coddled. All these players want to be coddled. What happened to paying your dues? What happened to actually listening when the coach tell your ass to do this and do that? It's over. Lloyd-Pierce, I would want him on my Magic because that's what the Magic need. They need a guy to put their foot up their ass, especially young like Lloyd-Pierce. They need somebody like that. And that's why I told everybody, I cannot coach today. I can't coach these young babies. These guys is nothing but babies. You tell them, look, man, you're doing this wrong. They're going to be like, Coach, man, why you sweating me? Man, it ain't 100 degrees right now. Who's sweating you? Like, what the hell is you talking about? Like, seriously. And for him to be the scapegoat is messed up. How about we talk about the injuries that the Hawks have had? They've had a lot of injuries. They haven't had their complete team. Let's talk about Trae at times turning the ball over at a high clip. He leads the league in turnovers. Or he's in the top 3 is out of him, LeBrownies, and Luka. So that's what I'm saying. What about the underperformances of the bench? That's what I'm saying. You're looking at it, if this was a white coach or any other coach, they would have got a pass. Dwayne Casey had a team in Toronto, was on the cusp of winning a chip, gets fired after being coach of the year, but now Nick Nurse is all of a sudden the greatest coach in the world. He ain't the greatest coach. He got the greatest talent. But it's okay to fire coach of the year. Then they're going to make Nick Nurse the coach of the year the following year. It's like, come on, dog. This is a joke. Nick Nurse can't coach for nothing. All he is just a substitute teacher. That's it. His staff is the one doing all the work. We have got to get out of this notion. These black players have got to step up. Byron Scott said this. They have to step up for these black coaches. You have to give these coaches at least 3 or 4 seasons to actually do what they have to do. You should have gave him 1 more season. If you'd have gave him 1 more season, then we could have seen what could have happened. But you just said, no, we're just giving you 2 seasons. No, but Luke Walton, he can stay as long as he want, right? Because his daddy, Bill Walton. This guy was a bum. He never did anything. He was trash. You know, this is a travesty. But don't worry. We'll see what happens when they get a nice white coach. Watch Trae and all of them all of a sudden start winning. Watch what I tell you. They're going to get a white coach, and then they're going to be all happy. And then they're going to be promoting the hell out of Atlanta. Atlanta going to turn around. And it just shows the coon mentality that these athletes have. And that's why I tell you, stop following these goddamn athletes. These athletes ain't nothing but a bunch of crybabies and a bunch of bitches with money. That's all they are. They're bitches. The days of Kobe Bean Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki is gone. We don't have no more guys who hold people foot to the fire, who hold people accountable. It's no more. We got a bunch of babies who want to have individual status and want to be overglorified. This is bullshit. I'm out. Deezy.